an immersive virtual pathway to your memories. I like to begin with something I call...
Hi and welcome to Select 10. Today we're going to rank the top 10 sci-fi films that are currently streaming on Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and HBO Max. We can all say that sci-fi is our favorite genre because it takes us to places beyond our wildest imagination, so watch the entire video as we present some of the best movies you need to see right now. Also, the links to the previous sci-fi movie videos are included in the description, check them out after watching this one. Now let's start the video. Number 10. Andyara. It is a 2018 science fiction film directed by Pelle K. German and Hugo Lilja. The movie is set in a dark future where global warming has destroyed Earth and has forced a massive relocation to Mars. The core story starts during the first week of Andyara's trip when the spaceship abruptly deviates from course to avoid hitting floating debris, but despite their best efforts, some of the debris penetrates the ship and smashes the nuclear reactor, causing an inevitable breakdown and prompting the crew to evacuate all of the ship's cargo. As a result, the ship is left without any power for speed or guidance, thereby making it impossible for it to turn back towards its original direction. In order to avert absolute chaos, Captain Cheffin assures the crew and passengers that they can restart their journey to Mars again when the spaceship crosses a planetary system. But you know what? The captain is not entirely speaking the truth. Although the story has its own flaws, sci-fi fans should see this movie at least once. It is a dark, thought-provoking sci-fi film that depicts the slow degradation of people as their world breaks apart. The movie has a 6.2 rating on IMDb and a 62% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 9. The Vast of Night. It is a science fiction mystery film directed by Andrew Patterson. The plot is set in 1950s New Mexico and is partially based on the Kecksburg alien encounter and the disappearances at Foss Lake. The movie follows teenage radio disc jockey Everett Sloan and switchboard operator Faye Crocker as they stumble upon a puzzling audio signal that might have otherworldly connections. In their quest to find the origin of a strange signal that has landed on their community, they eventually discover more than they had anticipated, which might transform the world permanently. The storyline moves slowly, but is well worth seeing. It is a kind of origin story that makes our curiosity about alien intelligence feel normal, and it is not your typical sci-fi film with insane action. It is a high-concept sci-fi story that starts slowly but quickly picks up pace and keeps you amazed. And the movie has a 6.7 rating on IMDb and a 93% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 8. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It is a science fiction comedy film directed by Garth Jennings. The story follows Arthur Dent, whose house has been marked for deconstruction to make way for a new route, but that's the last of his worries because it turns out that the planet Earth has also been marked for demolition to make room for a new intergalactic access road. Fortunately, his buddy, Ford Prefect, rescues him and takes him into space, and it turns out that Ford is an extraterrestrial from a little planet close to Betelgeuse who has long known that the Earth is dying. Together, they succeed in making their way out, discovering the real story behind the world in the process. I'm guessing many of you have seen this film. If not, add it to your watch list. It's a great sci-fi adventure movie that will keep you entertained. And the movie has a 6.7 rating on IMDb and a 65% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 7. Lucid Dream. It is a South Korean sci-fi mystery thriller film written and directed by Kim Joon-sung. The plot revolves around Dae-ho, a brilliant journalist and single parent who has created a few rivals by disclosing various crooked politicians and companies. However, when his son is kidnapped one day and no money is requested, Dae-ho believes one of his adversaries whom he exposed is acting in retaliation. As he searches for the mysterious disappearance of his son, he enlists the assistance of an investigator and a doctor friend to reconstruct his memories of the occurrence using lucid dream procedures, which will enable him to identify the major culprit of the kidnapping. This one sounds a little like Inception, doesn't it? Well, the idea is somewhat similar, but this film also contains deep emotional elements on top of a great story. The CGI is substandard, but other than that, it is a must-watch movie on this list. And the film has a 6.1 rating on IMDb. Number 6. Black Box. It is a sci-fi horror film directed by Emmanuel Issei Cuffer Jr. The narrative centers on Nolan, a father who is suffering from emotional pain and who lost his wife and memories in a horrible tragedy. However, Nolan's already dreadful condition takes a terrible turn when he takes part in a clinical therapy meant to help him recover his memories and uncovers a potentially terrible truth he might not be prepared to face. In order to go deeper and learn more about his fuzzy memories, he seeks the assistance of Lillian, who appears to be a psychiatrist. Overall, Black Box goes closer into the psychological thriller zone while supporting its story with elements of science fiction and horror. It also offers some wicked creativity to its iterations of the Memento movie, so if you loved Memento, then you'll enjoy this one too. And the movie has a 6.2 rating on IMDb and a 65% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 5. Idiocracy. It is a sci-fi comedy film directed by Mike Judge. The movie follows Joe Bowers, an U.S. Army historian who, together with a woman by the name of Rita, participates in a top-secret cryogenic experiment. But when the experiment goes horribly wrong, things spiral out of control. The sleeping pair is abandoned when the facility where they are kept shuts down, and they are left in hibernation until 2505. Surprisingly, when Joe and Rita awaken in the year 2505, on a dystopian Earth, they learn that the average intelligence of humans has fallen so much that Joe is now the most intelligent person on the planet. Idiocracy is a social commentary that tackles subjects such as corporate greed and anti-intellectualism. Overall, the movie is hilarious and enjoyable in every way. It has a captivating, adventurous story and a wonderful cast that instantly makes you laugh. And the movie has a 6.5 rating on IMDb and a 60% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 4. The Girl with All the Gifts. It is a post-apocalyptic sci-fi horror film directed by Colm McCarthy. The story takes place in a world where a weird disease has turned almost everyone into a mindless, flesh-eating monster, while mankind's only solution is a tiny group of mutant kids who thirst for flesh but still have psychological and emotional capabilities. The kids attend a rural British Army outpost school where Dr. Carolyn Caldwell abuses them to torturous experiments. The main plot is around a researcher and a professor who discover a girl named Melanie who appears to be invincible to the infection. However, when the station is ambushed, the three manage to flee with the help of Sergeant Eddie Parks and set off on a dangerous survival adventure, during which Melanie must try to deal with who she is. We've seen a lot of zombie movies, but this one is truly unique, depicting a distinct and refreshing take on the zombie tale with sci-fi elements and a mind-blowing climax that will surprise you. And the movie has a 6.6 rating on IMDb and a 67% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 3. Mirage. It is a Spanish sci-fi mystery film directed by Oriol Polo. The plot centers on Vera Roy, a woman who unintentionally finds a method for contacting a youngster named Nico Lassert, who lives 25 years back in time. After assisting Nico in avoiding his own tragic demise, Vera learns that her own reality and timeframe have been massively affected, where her kid no longer exists, and her hubby, David, is now wed to someone else. Committed to correcting her mistake, Vera is now anxiously looking for a solution to get back everything she lost and restore things to how they were before. It is a time-traveling story that amazes its viewers with its fresh concept. Overall, it's a mind-blowing film that surpasses all expectations, sends you on a roller coaster journey of twists and turns, and provides a flawlessly satisfying climax where everything fits into its proper place. And the movie has a 7.4 rating on IMDb and a 74% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 2. Chronicle. It is a science fiction action film directed by Josh Trank. The plot revolves around Andrew, an unconfident, shy youngster who utilizes a video camera as a method of escape and creativity. However, all starts to change when Andrew, his cousin Matt, and attractive colleague Steve find a strange artifact in the tunnel that grants them amazing superhuman abilities. Soon after, the three begin to manage their newly found powers, with Andrew emerging as the strongest. They initially utilize their new abilities for fun and financial benefit, but as their powers grow in strength, the teenagers' lives get out of control and their evil sides take charge. Overall, it's a breath of fresh air in terms of the uniqueness it adds to the superhero movie. It is a thrilling action-packed story that has a terrific beginning and conclusion, and its middle part keeps viewers hooked. It's a must-see for sci-fi fans. And the movie has a 7 rating on IMDb and a 71% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 1. Moon. It is a science fiction drama film directed by Duncan Jones. The plot revolves around astronaut Sam Bell, whose 3-year assignment at a moon base is approaching its end, and he is eager to see his wife and little girl again. But when Sam's health unexpectedly declines, he experiences severe, intense seizures and nightmares, and almost had a fatal crash in which he meets what looks to be a carbon copy of himself, probably a duplicate. Now that the clock is ticking, Sam must solve the puzzle before the company team comes and solve the mystery of his look-alike. This is the most underrated sci-fi film on this list. Very few people have spoken about it, and it deserves better attention. Overall, it's a great suspenseful sci-fi story that will make you smile and tear your heart out, with some major twists that hold enough suspense to keep you focused and guessing. And the movie has a 7.8 rating on IMDb and an 89% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. That's it for today. Thank you for watching this video. And do subscribe our channel to see more videos related to movies and series suggestions.